Hey guys, you're watching Matt the Musketeer, and today I have another catch-up commentary for you. And in today's video, as you can see, I am playing Rush on Battlefield Bad Company 2. Now today I want to talk to you guys about and discuss the ideas of class balances in Battlefield 4. And to do that, I want to take a look back at Battlefield Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3, and the way their class systems are balanced within the game. Now, of course, there are other Battlefield games out there, but I have only ever played Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3, so I can only really give my opinion on those two games. Now, once again, this is an open forum for you guys, so in the comment section below, I want to hear from you. I want to hear your opinions. Which Battlefield game did you prefer the class balance system in, and what kind of system would you like to see in place in Battlefield 4? So all your opinions and your thoughts I want to see in the comment section below. Now, to begin with, I want to take a look at the class balance in Battlefield 3, or should I say the lack of class balance in Battlefield 3. I think I can safely say that we are all in agreement that Battlefield 3 really does suffer with some class balance issues. Nearly any game you go into will be predominantly made up of people playing as the medic or assault class. Now, there are a number of reasons for this, including the fact that some of the most powerful and effective weapons in the game are all found in the assault class, including the M16A3, the M416 and the AEK-971. All of which can be found in the assault class, and all of which can be used on pretty much any map to a very devastating effect. Now, on Battlefield 3, the assault class has the ability to drop health and use the revive tool. Now, this is where it begins to differ from Bad Company 2. On Bad Company 2, the assault class did actually have the ammunition. Now, a lot of people do say that on Bad Company 2, the assault class was overpowered, as players had the ability to drop ammunition and use the underbarrel grenade launcher on their assault rifles, allowing them to practically have an infinite ammunition underbarrel grenade launcher. So, on Bad Company 2, a lot of people did say the assault class was overpowered. So it's quite understandable that for Battlefield 3, they tried to balance out this class a little bit more by taking away its ability to drop ammunition and replace it with medic packs and the defibrillators. But with that said, a lot of people do still think the assault class in Battlefield 3 is a little bit unbalanced. Somebody playing as a medic for an entire game generally has the opportunity to gain a lot more points than somebody playing as a support class, for example. Giving out health and reviving people is an opportunity that comes around a lot more frequently than giving out ammunition successfully in a round of Battlefield 3. So then, looking towards Battlefield 4, how do you think the medic class could be a little bit more evenly balanced out? Maybe the soldiers who carry the defibrillators and the medipacks aren't the same soldiers who carry the assault rifles, such as the M16A3 and the AEK-971. Maybe these soldiers could carry the submachine guns that you see the engineer class carry instead. This is just an idea, guys. In the comment section below, I want to hear from you. How do you think the medic class could be a little bit more evenly balanced in Battlefield 4? Now, moving on to the support class, this is a class that I really do think suffered between the transition of Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3. Now, as I said previously, in Bad Company 2, this class did carry the health packs and the defibrillators, and it still carried the LMG machine guns that we see it carry in Battlefield 3. Now, the main differences in this class between Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3, for me personally, I think, was a lot to do with the weapons. Now, in Bad Company 2, the LMGs were very, very accurate. They were almost, if not on par, with the assault rifles in Bad Company 2. So this is the reason I think in Bad Company 2, this class was just as popular as the assault class, and you saw a more varied use of this class alongside the assault class than we do see in Battlefield 3. Now, when Battlefield 3 came out, the support class really did take a beat down. Not only did it no longer carry the defibrillators and the health packs, which, as we said earlier, are inclined to give you a few more points during a game, but it also saw its weapons being massively downgraded, being nowhere near as accurate or as powerful to try and balance it out for the inclusion of the bipods into the game. And if that wasn't enough, Battlefield 3 then saw the inclusion of things like the ammunition perk, allowing players to carry more ammunition on their soldier, meaning that the support class's ability to drop ammunition was all that more useless. So in Battlefield 4, I would love to see the support class made just that little bit more useful again, by maybe making the weapons a little bit more accurate and deadly as they were in Bad Company 2, and definitely taking away those ammunition squad support perks you see in Battlefield 3. Now, moving on to the engineer class, I'm going to glaze over this pretty quickly because out of all the classes, it's pretty much unchanged between Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3. But I will say a few things that in Battlefield 4 I would still love to see the fact that when you lay mines down, they stay there even after you died. I think that is something that is well balanced in Battlefield 3 because of course mines are there to target things like tanks and trucks which have the advantage of armour and moving quickly and big guns. So I think the fact that your mines stay after you died is pretty balanced and it is something that I think should stay in Battlefield 4. But as I said, I'm going to move on now because that class pretty much was unchanged between Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3. And to be honest, if it was in Battlefield 4 just the way it is in Battlefield 3, I would be pretty happy with that. I think the engineer class is pretty spot on and pretty balanced. Now moving on to the final class, which if you have any denomination skills you will know is the Recon class. Now the Recon class did see a lot of changes between Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3, a lot of which people do argue were for the negative. A lot of people say the Recon class in Bad Company 2 was a lot more aggressive than it is in Battlefield 3. I think there are some truths to that, but it's not quite as simple as that. Now in Bad Company 2, the Recon class did have things such as C4, which allowed it to take on armoured vehicles and destroy tanks, and take out NCOMs and objectives. So people for that reason do argue it was a lot more proactive and aggressive in the game. But on the other hand, in Battlefield 3, we saw the addition of the spawn beacon to the Recon class, allowing snipers to put down spawn beacons and get behind the enemy or spawn up close to the enemy objectives and try and be, really aggressive and up close to the enemy as quickly as possible. So people could argue that the spawn beacon allows snipers in Battlefield 3 to be quite aggressive as well. But that said, the spawn beacons also allow players to parachute down onto tall buildings and objects and pretty much camp for the entire game. So a balance between the two can be argued. Now the effectiveness of the Recon class and the sniper rifles themselves were massively downgraded in Battlefield 3. Not only were the weapons nowhere near as powerful as they were in Bad Company 2, we also saw the fact that the weapons now swayed as you looked down the scopes and the bullets dropped off much more dramatically than they did in Bad Company 2. So looking towards Battlefield 4 with the Recon class, I'd actually like to see a step back towards Bad Company 2 with more effective sniper rifles with less bullet drop off and things like that. But I'd also still like to see the inclusion of things like the glint from the scope of the rifles to try and balance out the class just that little bit more. And that pretty much rounds up my opinions on the class balances between Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3 and how I feel they should move forward, and I would love to see them in Battlefield 4. But in the comment section below, it's now down to you guys. I want to hear from you. Which classes do you think are still a little bit overpowered in Battlefield 3? Which classes do you think need boosting in Battlefield 4? And which classes do you think need nerfing a little bit? Tell me all in the comment section below. But in the meantime guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.